Okay, we're talking about what is the purpose of the Torah or the law as it describes in the scriptures. And we left off in Romans chapter 3. And I want to continue reading the verses I haven't gotten to yet. And we'll start in verse 19. This is where we left off in our last session. It says, "We know that what things soever the law or the Torah says, it says to them who are under the Torah, that every mouth may be stopped and the whole world may become guilty before Yahuwah." See, that's the purpose of the Torah or the law, was that all the world might become, this is one of the purposes of the Torah, is that man might see his need for a Savior, that he would see his spiritual condition, that he would become guilty before Yahuwah because of his inability to keep the Torah or to keep the commandments of Yahuwah. And if you break one of the commandments of Yahuwah, you become guilty of all of them. And so, verse 20 of this chapter, Paul says here, verse 20, "Therefore by the deeds of the Torah shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law or by the Torah is the knowledge of sin." See, this is one of the purposes of the Torah, is the knowledge of sin, that you might recognize that your need for a Savior, that you might recognize your need to be born from above, to be born again by the Spirit of Yahuwah. And that's the only way of salvation. That's the only way that man's condition could be changed, was not by keeping the Torah, but that by recognizing his need or his inability to keep the Torah, and because of that, then he would look to the Messiah. In fact, this is what Paul wrote about in the book of Galatians chapter 3, where he said the Torah was our schoolmaster to bring us to the Messiah, to the Mashiach. And it says here, continue reading in verse let me go back and read verse 20. It says, "Therefore by the deeds of the Torah shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the Torah, or by the Torah, is the knowledge of sin. But the righteousness of Yahuwah without the Torah is manifested." See, the righteousness of Yahuwah without the Torah is manifested, being witnessed by the law or by the Torah and the prophets. Even the righteousness of Yahuwah, which is by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and come short of the esteem, or the word here is glory of God, but it's the esteem of Yahuwah. For all have sinned and come short of the esteem of Yahuwah. In other words, mankind had fallen in his fall, when Adam rebelled against Yahuwah. Then he took upon himself the nature of Shaitan, of Satan, and he fell short, way short. It wasn't just a little short. He fell way short of the glory of Yahuwah, or the esteem of Yahuwah. But notice it says here that but the righteousness of Yahuwah without the Torah is manifested, being witnessed by the law or the Torah and the prophets, even the righteousness of Yahuwah, which is by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. In other words, you have to understand that the plan of salvation, or man's redemption, was that he would believe in the Messiah as his Savior, and that was the plan of Yahuwah in the beginning, that you would be justified by faith and not by the works of the Torah. Now again, am I saying that we shouldn't keep the Torah? No, I'm not saying that, but that's not how you are justified or declared righteous before Yahuwah. It's by your faith and trust in the Messiah that will cause you to be justified before Yahuwah. Now, I want to read, before we close, I want to go over to Romans chapter 10, and I've quoted this a number of times, but I want to read this to you again in Romans chapter 10, talking to Paul, writing about the nation of Yasharel, and he says, For brethren, my heart's desire and to Yahuwah for Yasharel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record they have a zeal of Yahuwah, but not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of Yahuwah's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Yahuwah. It says here, Paul says they're ignorant. Now, ignorant is not a bad word. It's just, it's not good to be ignorant about certain things. Now, I'm ignorant about a lot of things, and you are too. It just depends on what you're ignorant of. I'm ignorant about how to fly an airplane, and I have no real desire to ever know how to fly an airplane. But, and there's certain things in life that you can be ignorant about, but there's certain things that you you don't need to be ignorant about, and those are spiritual things. Yahuwah himself, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and it's because they're ignorant. They don't know certain things, and it's important that you not be ignorant about spiritual things, because if you are, you can be lost throughout eternity because you're ignorant of the fact of the plan of salvation. And it says that Yasharel had a zeal for Yahuwah, but not according to knowledge, not according to the knowledge of the scriptures that would reveal to them that, because it says they went about doing, it says that they were ignorant of Yahuwah's righteousness and went about to establish their own righteousness, did not submit themselves unto the righteousness of Yahuwah. What is the righteousness of Yahuwah? Is that you believe in him whom he has sent. And the nation of Yasharel have followed after their own righteousness by keeping the Torah, by keeping the law and the commandments, and then bragging about the fact that they've kept the law. In fact, they don't. They say they do, but the fact is they don't. No one's able to keep all the commandments and all the of the Torah because of man's fallen nature. He's incapable of doing that. Yahuwah never gave the Torah and the commandments for you so that you could attain to some kind of level of righteousness. It was given to point you to the fact of your inability to keep them and to show you your condition, that you needed a Savior. So, I want to thank you for joining us on this session, and we'll continue further. There's so much more needs to be said, and you can't say everything in one little segment of time here. But I thank you for your support. Continue to share this with others as I've asked you to do, and I appreciate you doing that very much. I do. And we'll join together and share more with you about what is the purpose of the Torah and the commandments of Yahuwah. Thank you, and shalom.